From the very beginning, we learn that a deadly zombie virus has completely destroyed the entire city. Death and fear are everywhere. In the middle of this chaos, Francis decides to leave the city with his wife Aris and their two sons, older son Joshua and younger son Lucas, and head to his old family farmhouse in the village. The bloodstains on their car clearly show how dangerous the journey was, and it's obvious that most people in the country have already turned into zombies. Francis hopes that once they reach the village, his family will finally be safe. But as soon as they enter the farmhouse, Francis is shocked to see the place in complete disarray. He calls out for his parents. When he goes into his father's room, he finds his father lying dead on the bed with a gun in his hand. Francis realizes his father shot himself before he could turn into a zombie. He takes his father's gun and watches for himself. Suddenly he hears a noise. His mother is still alive, but horribly mutilated. Half her body is cut apart. She keeps banging her head against the wall, repeatedly saying sorry, sorry. Then she suddenly attacks Francis. In desperation, he shoots her. Later, he buries both his parents and understands that the virus has now reached even the village. Afterward, Joshua tells Francis they should get supplies from the storage room. When they go there, they find the farmhouse caretaker has hanged himself. After a moment of silence, Francis tells Joshua to take the keys from the caretaker's waist. As the terrified Joshua reaches for the keys, the dead body suddenly falls down. Joshua screams and runs out in panic. Aris sees her son looking terrified and asks what happened. Francis quickly says it was nothing, just a dead body that fell on Joshua. Aris gets angry and tells Francis not to make Joshua do such dangerous things. But Francis replies firmly, if we want to survive here, he has to learn these things. Otherwise, none of us will last very long. Later, Francis gives a piece of sugarcane to his younger son Lucas. Seeing Lucas happily eating it makes Francis smile. It's clear he pays more attention and shows more love to his younger son. Then Aris takes Francis down to a locked room in the basement. The moment he sees it, Francis gets scared because it reminds him of his childhood. His father used to lock him in this very room as punishment. That night, the whole family sits together for dinner. Joshua finds an old radio and tries to turn it on, but Francis stops him and tells him to eat first. During dinner, Joshua tells them that his girlfriend Alice sent a message. She and her family are heading to the mountains in the north, where the government has set up a safe camp for survivors. Francis immediately refuses. He says he will not go to any safe zone. He believes people there will be treated like animals and will have to fight for food. He declares firmly that they are staying right here at the farmhouse. Aris strongly disagrees with his decision. Later that night, Aris tells Francis not to be so harsh with Joshua because he's growing up. That same night, Francis has a terrifying nightmare in which his father appears in a horrifying form. He wakes up in fear and grabs Aris tightly. The next morning, Aris clearly tells him she does not want to stay in this place at all. Because of the bad dreams and Aris' insistence, Francis reluctantly agrees to go to the safe camp in the mountains. The family sets off in their car. On the way, they find a bridge blocked with abandoned vehicles and iron barricades. Francis wants to turn back to the farmhouse, but Aris says part of the road is still open. She gets out of the car to try and move the barricade, but she can't budge it. Suddenly, a zombie appears right in front of her. Terrified, Aris starts running. Francis jumps out, shoots the zombie, and saves her, but the gunshot attracts more zombies. They swarm the car where the children are sitting. Francis cleverly draws all the zombies toward himself. Just as they are about to catch him, he manages to escape and throws a grenade. The massive explosion kills all the zombies and saves the family. However, the car won't start anymore. They are forced to walk back to the farmhouse on foot. Once back home, Francis tells Aris that from now on, everything will be done her way. The next morning, Francis goes alone to the bridge to get the car, but as soon as the car starts, he thinks, if I bring it back, Aris will want to leave again. So he leaves the car there and returns on foot. When Aris asks about the car, Francis lies and says it was broken. That night, Francis fixes the house lights and the cooling system. He plays and laughs with the children. They all dance and sing while Aris stands at a distance, watching. She feels that Francis has now accepted this place as their permanent home. Later, while looking through an old photo album, Joshua and Lucas see a picture of Francis and his brother Diego together. Lucas says, "Joshua, you look exactly like Uncle Diego." This comment leaves Joshua confused. Slowly, he begins to realize that Francis is not his real father, Diego is. That's why Francis always loved Lucas more. Joshua becomes even more suspicious. The next morning, Francis apologizes to Aris and takes responsibility for everything that has happened. Aris also apologizes for her behavior. Francis forgives her and says they will start everything fresh. He promises they will stay here and raise the children together. Right after the conversation, Francis goes to the barn to collect eggs. There he sees a rabid dog attacking the chickens. When he tries to chase it away, the dog bites him hard on the wrist. Terrified, Francis runs back to the house. Aris bandages the wound and says they must leave immediately because a rabid dog bite is extremely dangerous and could be fatal if the infection spreads. She insists on going to a hospital, but Francis refuses. He believes the wound will heal here. Meanwhile, Joshua goes outside to try and catch a radio signal. He hears something about Delta Camp. He runs back and tells his parents, but Francis doesn't believe him. In anger, he tells Joshua to stop lying. Francis has already accepted that there are no safe places left in the world. That night at dinner, the family discusses Delta Camp again. Francis explains that the outside world is completely destroyed and there is no hope left. He insists this farmhouse is the safest place. The next morning, Joshua tells Francis he also wants to do something for the family. He says he's not a child anymore and wants freedom. Francis ignores him and says he's not old enough to make decisions. He even tells Joshua that sometimes you have to kill to protect your family and asks if Joshua could do that. Joshua replies that if it's necessary to protect the family, he could. To test Joshua's courage, Francis takes him to the field and tells him to shoot. Joshua keeps missing. Francis gets angry and yells at him. Hearing the gunshots, Aris comes out with Lucas and angrily tells Francis to stop. Suddenly, they see a zombie. Then more and more zombies start moving toward them. Francis shouts for everyone to run inside. They barricade the door with heavy furniture. The zombies surround the house and start breaking in. Just then, they hear a car horn outside. A man in a car distracts all the zombies and leads them away, saving the family. Francis recognizes the car. It belongs to his brother Diego. The next morning, Francis meets Diego by the river. Diego says he came to check on their parents. Francis tells him they are dead. Diego offers to stay and help, but Francis, who hates him, tells him to leave immediately. Francis hates Diego because Diego had an affair with Aris after the marriage, and Joshua is actually Diego's biological son. Before leaving, Diego gives Francis a map and tells him to go to the safe camp in the northern mountains because the city zombies are slowly moving in this direction. Francis almost burns the map in anger but keeps it at the last moment. Back home, Francis shows Diego's jacket to Aris. Aris becomes sad and goes to her room without saying anything. Francis now realizes the zombies could arrive any time, so he starts reinforcing the doors and windows. While playing, Lucas goes to the basement and screams when he sees an old zombie outside the window. Aris calms him down, saying it's weak and not dangerous. Francis secretly hears this, goes outside, kills the zombie, and cuts off its head. He gathers the family and says there are still many dangerous zombies outside, so they must stay at the farmhouse. Aris realizes he is lying. Later, when Francis is bathing, Joshua sneaks into his room and finds the map Diego gave him. That night, Francis suddenly starts preparing for Christmas. Everyone tells him it's still September, but Francis says, "For me, today is Christmas." It becomes clear that Francis' mental state is deteriorating. During dinner, Joshua tells Aris about the map. When Aris asks Francis about it, he gets furious and denies having any map. He then tells the children that their mother wanted to run away with someone else but couldn't because of the virus. The children start crying and ask Aris if it's true. Aris is forced to agree. Francis warns everyone that no one is allowed to leave the house anymore. He throws the map into the fire. Aris slaps him in anger and walks away. The next day, while Francis is in the fields, Aris talks to the children. It's clear the kids feel safer with their mother because Francis is acting strangely and losing his mind. In the evening, Francis returns with a large wooden board and blocks the door. He tells everyone there are dangerous zombies outside and no one is allowed to leave. He even says he will attack anyone who tries to go out. Joshua says his father is lying just to keep them locked inside. Hearing this, Francis explodes in rage. He slaps Joshua, calls him a bastard, and starts cursing him. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. A wounded soldier is standing outside asking for help. Francis tries to send him away, but Joshua opens the door and lets him in. The soldier says he worked at Delta Camp. He was attacked by zombies in the city. He was saved by a man, clearly Diego, who gave him the address of this house before dying. Aris asks if Diego is alive. The soldier says the zombies surrounded him and he's probably dead. Aris bandages the soldier's wounds and asks Francis to let him stay the night. Francis agrees but says the soldier must stay in the basement. At night, Joshua tells Aris he knows Francis is not his real father and that's why he treats him so harshly. Still, he considers Francis his father. Joshua says he's going out tonight to check the road. Aris allows him and Joshua sneaks out. The next morning, Francis realizes Joshua is missing. When he sees the open door, he understands Joshua has run away. This drives him completely insane. He grabs a hammer, goes to the basement, and kills the wounded soldier by smashing his head. Aris and Lucas watch in terror. Francis then pushes Aris so hard that she loses consciousness. When Aris wakes up, she finds herself and Lucas locked in the basement. Francis sees the rabid dog again and brutally kills it outside. His mental state is now completely broken. He cooks the dog's meat and tries to force Aris and Lucas to eat it. Aris refuses. In anger, Francis throws the plate and a knife falls. Aris secretly hides it under her foot. Aris tries to calm Francis down, saying he is the most important person in her life, but Francis notices the knife. He takes it away and locks her in the basement again. Aris tries to escape but slips and faints. When she wakes up, Lucas asks what to do. Aris tells him a plan. Lucas starts screaming loudly. When Francis comes running, Aris attacks him, knocks him unconscious, locks him in the basement, and escapes with Lucas. While locked in the basement, Francis is lost in painful childhood memories. Outside, as Aris and Lucas try to run, they see Diego now turned into a zombie. Terrified, Aris runs back inside with Lucas, but zombie Diego follows them in and attacks Lucas. Aris jumps in to save her son and gets attacked too. Francis hears their screams from the basement. He breaks the door with all his strength and rushes upstairs. In rage, he stabs and kills zombie Diego. Then Francis angrily asks Aris why she did this to him. Suddenly, they see that the zombie has bitten Lucas. Both parents panic. In this moment, Francis becomes completely calm. His anger vanishes and he breaks down. He begs Aris to save their son. Aris is forced to cut off Lucas' infected arm and bandage the wound. Seeing all this, Francis completely shatters inside. Aris tells him to quickly bring the van so they can take Lucas to a doctor. Francis runs toward the van, but there stands Joshua holding a gun. Seeing Francis covered in blood, Joshua assumes he has killed Aris. In fear and anger, Joshua shoots him. When Joshua reaches the wounded Francis, Francis holds his son's hand and says he always considered Joshua his own son. He apologizes for any pain he ever caused him. Hearing this, Joshua breaks down crying and says he made a terrible mistake, but Francis dies in his arms. Joshua cries bitterly, realizing everything is over. He takes the van and returns home, where Aris is waiting. She still doesn't know that Francis is dead. Now neither Francis nor his brother Diego is alive. The entire responsibility of the family falls on Aris alone. And with this scene, the movie ends.